So I remember into that semester, I said, "You're not going back next semester."
Yeah.
And I don't think you took me seriously. Pulled you out of the school. We had a good friend in Columbia, South Carolina, our brother Daryl, and surprisingly enough, Travis Green.
Yeah.
Talk about that experience in Columbia.
That was what me and Daryl Izzo called that the manger, that reigniting again. I fell in love with worship by myself. Forest City, Travis Green, and we had the 6 for 6, the prayers, and those worship moments were always like reigniting just that faith. We started our own group, Chandler Moore, Melvin Crispell, and all those guys. Like we had a blast, we had fun.
I'm happy. This is my birthday present. Tonight.
Y'all don't understand.
He's here.
This is like my spiritual father, Godfather.
He's here in
Everything, man.
I'm so grateful for what you did for us, man. For real.
You always bring that up.
But I have to.
But that was a return on your seed.
Yeah.
See, when you sow and bless other people, that he promised that he would give you the return on the harvest.
That's right.
So I was just a part of that harvest. So.
Wow.
And I'm so proud of him. Like
It's incredible.
Daryl Izzo, he's like what I consider him to be like a true godfather. So in that 2-year time span, I know what the purpose of that season was. It wasn't for academics. As much as I love back to college and my South Carolina friends, it wasn't for academics. It was truly just to reignite that faith again. Yeah.
Hey.
This is interesting.
Yeah. So you're my one and only son.
Been through it
I
all.
wanted to talk to you about life and how you've grown to be like a young man.
Yeah.
One experience we had when you graduated from high school, we moved down to Maryland, and you started at Bowie State University.
Yeah.
And that first semester, something happened. Started to experience other things besides what we experienced growing up. Kind of opened up to some stuff that was unusual for us.
Yeah.
At Bowie State. Talk about that.
Moving from Connecticut and moving from everything that I was accustomed to and known of into a whole new place. Going into that, I started like studying like things that was opposite of what we believe. And it's crazy because like you look at those organizations and be like so starstruck and be like, wow, like this is different from Christian organizations and the way the structure is and things of that nature. I began to formulate questions, and I remember there was a lot of moments in the house where that was uncomfortable. There was an option because I was also failing at the time too. I was also failing English at the time. And there was an option that said either one of these has to go. I was too rebellious. I was too deep into it. That year was 2015 going on 2016, a very, very lonely place.
I remember we prayed, but I was angry. On top of you not doing well in school at the time, you weren't believing in our foundation. So I remember into that semester, I said, "You're not going back next semester."
Yeah.
And I don't think you took me seriously. But I pulled you out of the school, and we had a good friend in Columbia, South Carolina, that we sent you down to Benedict College, and you reestablished your relationship there. Our brother Daryl, and never forget him, and surprisingly enough, Travis Green.
Yeah.
You went down there when he basically just started his church.
Yeah.
Talk about that experience in Columbia.
That was what me and Daryl Izzo called that the manger, that reigniting again. It was kind of like the birthplace where I've grown to know myself spiritually, just put it that way, where I fell in love with worship by myself. Forest City, Travis Green, Pastor Travis Green, my Columbia, South Carolina pastor, and we had the 6 for 6, the prayers, and those worship moments were always like reigniting just that faith. We started our own group, Chandler Moore, Melvin Crispell, John, and all those guys. Like we had a blast, we had fun.
I'm happy. This is my birthday present. Tonight.
Y'all don't understand.
He's here.
This is like my spiritual father, Godfather.
He's here in
everything, man.
I'm so grateful for what you did for us, man. For real.
You always bring that up.
But I have to.
But that was a return on your seed.
Yeah.
See, when you sow and bless other people, that he promised that he would give you the return on it, the harvest.
That's right.
So I was just a part of that harvest. So
Wow.
and I'm so proud of him. Like
It's incredible.
Daryl Izzard, he's like what I consider him to be like a true godfather. Ironically, Benedict College Gospel Choir was one thing, and then we go from that to, okay, the scholarship that I had is now cut in half. So in that 2-year time span, I know what the purpose of that season was. It wasn't for academics. As much as I love Bandsintown College and my South Carolina friends, it wasn't for academics. It was truly just to reignite that faith again. Yeah.
Then you came back home, went back to the same college,
Yep.
and you came back a whole different person. You were able to graduate from the same college you were failing at. What was different when you came back?
Purpose, identity. I didn't have to blend in. I didn't have to go inside that crowd anymore. I knew where my space was. There was so many moments that you just sit down and you pray and you cry and you get on your knees, like, and really just like go after God and seek Him. I think there's a scripture in James where it says, all good things come from above, from the Father of lights. And that was actually one of Travis Green's sermons. And I held that to myself when I came back, because I realized that there isn't an organization or isn't a person that can create you or build out your purpose. Like, that all comes from God. That identity comes from God. It doesn't belong to anybody else, and no one else can take credit for it. I know we're talking about not holding back of the album. That song with Travis, Never Gave Up, is actually my favorite song because it has two of the most important people in my life. And you're talking about at the crossroads, you know, wondering if I should let go, where am I going, stuck in the wrong way, making the same mistake. Like, I remember coming back to South Carolina and still wanted to try to go into that organization and try to make my way, however that could work or whatever. But no, like, his love, his faithfulness said, I'm never giving up on you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then you're back here, you graduate from Bowie, you propose to my baby girl. I call her my baby girl because it feels like she's always been one of our daughters, Minnie Hairston. What have you learned as my son? What have you learned as our son that you think is helping you in your marriage?
I remember those times between you and Mom. And there was always that love, there was always that communication, there was always that hope. It said that I really want to be here with you. I want to love you. I want to be in this relationship with you. I want to grow together. You both were married young, didn't know everything. You just tried it. And that's what I love about it. That's what I take into our marriage. It's like, let's just try it. Like, we know God's going to provide. Obviously, we have the faith to prove it. We have background knowledge to prove it. Her parents are 25 years in. My parents are 25 years in. And her family has a long-lasting marriage cycle, and so does ours. My grandparents are about 60 years.
Yeah, 60 years.
So it's like there's no doubt. Everything is fact. It's proven. So it's just like knowing that and knowing that God's gonna provide. Let's just try it. Let's just build. Let's do something new. Let's love on each other. Also hold each other to our purpose and what we call to do individually. I didn't know that Mian danced behind you and with DDI, the organization under Amanda's standard. I didn't know that every time we came to Maryland, she'd been doing that since I was like 6-7 years old. Every time we would come down to Maryland, and I was already a fan of, you know, JJ Hairston. So it wasn't even about like, I'm gonna marry JJ. She didn't even know I existed really. And I didn't know she did. But by the time it was May 15, 2016, we had the live recording.
Yeah.
And we met. She liked me for me. I loved her for her. She knew that I was operating cameras and serving in the ministry. I'm glad she recognized that my heart in the ministry is in the right place, much like hers is. Her passion in dance and how she sings in that nature. I'm always a fan of her. Yeah. So even coming into now, up until the moment of when now we are married and we established a union, I felt like we can't be broken. we can't be broken. Individually, it's like we're already a threat by itself, but coming together into this powerful union, it's amazing.
So now, you guys will be starting a family soon, me and Mommy Hope. we're not rushing you, but you know, I'm not ready to be a grandfather, but I am ready to be a grandfather. Wow. It's weird. What things about our family do you want to happen in your family?
We never let other things get in the way. Our home is our home. We have an incredible bond. We love to just be down to earth, and although we may talk about church and business 24/7, I mean, I'm old enough to like have those types of conversations and be involved in the ministry, much like you all are. And I mean, you guys are being stretched as well as I am. But I love the fact that we're all stretching together. I love the fact that individually we are all in our own creative avenues. Outside of that, we love to watch movies, we love to go shopping, we love to just say, you know, what do we want to eat and stuff like that. Like, we never, as much as ministry we do talk about, we also talk about being a family.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had prayer a couple weeks ago, and Apostle Sherman Dumas prophesied over you and your wife.
Wow.
And said there's more than media.
Yeah.
There's more than dancing, there's more than singing. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for God to do through you and your wife in the future?
I can't even say what I'm looking for because I don't know what that's gonna be. Like, and I think you know what I mean by that. Like, at first you just thought that it was gonna be singing. Yeah. You had no idea that this call was gonna come upon being a pastor. Yeah. You've heard it. Yeah. You've heard it throughout the years, and we've sensed it every time you've performed, but now it's like, we're becoming ministers, becoming ministers of the gospel, and that's what I pray, that we grow strong in that area. Earlier, I felt like I'm seeing myself mentoring spiritual sons, and I'm just as old as they are, but I feel like there's ministry tapped in me that I haven't further advanced in a way. I see it in myself that there's something in you. There's something in you. It's not just media. Media was just one platform of it. And I remember, like, when I was recording moments, and I had my best friends, and we graduated Bowie State together. And that moment when we were recording a specific event, he cried at the name of Jesus. And he was not even a firm believer at that time. And I said, wow, I want to carry these moments with us. This means more to me than holding the camera or editing. If I could impact lives and bring you back to this moment, then I've done my job.
That's amazing. So I think I've said it enough, but just in case I haven't, I'm extremely proud of you. Watching, I mean, you remember the video and you talking to the mic. I remember your birth. I remember me and Mommy agreeing that we were gonna have a child. And like Mommy said, I'm very strategic. So a lot of things don't catch me by surprise. And you were a decision. You weren't something that just happened. And I can say you're probably one of the best decisions I've ever had. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of your family. I'm proud of what you're building, proud of what you're doing. And I pray every day that you become a way better man than I've ever been. And you do more than I've ever been able to do. I love you.
I love you too.